Welcome to today's video on understanding the key differences between Islamic banking and conventional banking in Malaysia. In this video, we'll explore how these two banking systems operate, the fundamental principles behind them, and how they reflect ethical and professional conduct in financial dealings. We will also look at real-life examples of banking practices in Malaysia that demonstrate these differences. First of all, let me introduce the group members. Start with Muhammad Ikhwan, Daniel bin Muhammad Zukri, Arman Aman bin Jafri, Shafiqah Shazlinda binti Shamsul Aswadi, Nurjannah binti Zahiruddin, and lastly, Naili Batrishia binti Muhammad Nur Firhan. Now let's get into our main topic.
The fundamentals of Islamic banking. To understand Islamic banking, we first need to dive into the core principles that drive it. Islamic banking is based on Shari'ah law, which dictates that financial transactions must adhere to Islamic teachings. These principles are designed to promote fairness, ethical conduct, and social justice. One of the key principles of Islamic banking, the first one is prohibition of riba, or we call interest. Islamic banking strictly prohibits charging or paying interest, known as riba, as it is considered exploitative. Instead of earning money from interest, Islamic banks focus on profit sharing, equity participation, and risk-sharing arrangements. The second is profit and loss sharing. One of the key features of Islamic banking is profit and loss sharing. This means both the bank and the customer share in the risks and rewards of any investment or business venture. The third one is asset-backed transactions. Every transaction must be backed by real, tangible assets, ensuring that financial activities are grounded in productive economic ventures. This also prevents speculation or excessive uncertainty, and what we call gharar. The next is ethical investment. Islamic banks only invest in businesses and projects that align with Islamic ethics. Industries like alcohol, gambling, and tobacco are prohibited. Now, let's shift our focus to fundamental of conventional banking. Conventional banks operate on secular, capitalistic principles that do not involve religious guidelines. Their primary aim is profit maximization for shareholders. The key principles of conventional banking, the first one is interest-based system. In conventional banking, interest is the main mechanism for earning profits. Banks charge interest on loans and pay interest on deposits, with profits generated through the difference between the interest charged on loans and paid on deposits. The second one is risk management. Conventional banks are risk-averse and typically manage risks through financial products like insurance, derivatives, and credit checks. The third one is profit maximization. The main focus of conventional banking is to generate profit for the shareholders, and this often drives decisions regarding loan products, investments, and services. The next one is no asset-backed transactions. Unlike Islamic banking, conventional banks can lend money without requiring the loan to be backed by physical assets.
Now let's dive into how these principles reflect ethical and professional conduct in financial dealings. So we go through to the Islamic banking and ethics. The first one is fairness and justice. By prohibiting interest, Islamic banks aim to prevent financial exploitation. Profit and loss sharing ensure that all parties are treated fairly and that no one party benefits at the expense of the other. The second one is risk sharing and responsibility. In Islamic finance, when a bank and a customer share the risks of an investment, it encourages more responsible lending and borrowing and discourages excessive speculation. The third one is social responsibility. Islamic banks must only invest in sectors that are socially beneficial and ethical. This ensures that the bank's profits do not come at the expense of societal harm. For the conventional banking and ethics, the first one is profit over ethics. In conventional banking, the primary focus is on maximizing profits for shareholders. While banks must adhere to legal regulations, there are fewer ethical restrictions on investments compared to Islamic banks. The second one, financial products for profit. Conventional banks are more likely to offer products like credit cards with high interest rates, or loans that benefit the bank's bottom line without necessarily sharing the risk with the borrower. The third one, social responsibility and CSR. While conventional banks may engage in corporate social responsibility, CSR activities, these are typically secondary to the goal of maximizing financial return.
Banking practices in the Malaysian context. Let's now explore how these principles play out in real-world banking practices in Malaysia. We'll look at examples from both Islamic and conventional banks to highlight the differences. Islamic banking practices in Malaysia. The first one is mudarabah, which is profit sharing. In Malaysia, a typical Islamic bank may enter into a mudarabah agreement with a business. Here, the bank provides the capital while the business owner manages the project. Profits are shared, but losses are borne by the bank unless negligence is proven. The second one is murabahah, which is cost-plus financing. Another common practice is murabahah, where a bank buys an asset and then sells it to the customer at a markup. The customer repays the amount in installments over time, but no interest is charged. This makes it different from conventional loans where interest is applied on the principal. The third one is sukuk, Islamic bonds. Sukuk are asset-backed securities that comply with Islamic law. In Malaysia, Islamic banks issue sukuk to raise funds for projects. These bonds represent ownership in tangible assets and generate returns based on the performance of those assets. For the conventional banking practices in Malaysia, the first one is interest-based loans. Conventional banks like Maybank and CIMB offer traditional loans with fixed or variable interest rates. The customer repays the loan with added interest, which is calculated separately from the principal amount. The second one is credit cards and personal loans. Conventional banks also issue credit cards with high interest rates on outstanding balances. Personal loans are offered with repayment schedules that include interest charges, and these products are designed to generate profit for the bank. The third one is investments without ethical restrictions. Conventional banks in Malaysia can invest in any industry that is legally permitted, including sectors such as tobacco, alcohol, and gaming. There are no specific ethical constraints on where the bank can direct its funds. In conclusion, Islamic banking and conventional banking in Malaysia differ significantly in their principles, ethical standards, and practices. While Islamic banking focuses on fairness, ethical investments, and shared risks, conventional banking emphasizes profit maximization and the interest-based lending system. Understanding these differences helps us see how both systems influence the economy and society in Malaysia. By adhering to Shari'Ah principles, Islamic banking promotes social responsibility and ethical finance. On the other hand, conventional banking operates on a profit-driven model with fewer restrictions on investments. Thank you for watching. We hope this video helped clarify the differences between Islamic and conventional banking systems in Malaysia. If you found this video useful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more educational content. Until next time, goodbye.